Hello, my lovely students. Welcome back to our English class. Today, our lesson is reading from Module 3A. So, kindly open your student book, pages 34 and 35. Dear students, in today's lesson, we have 4 objectives. Number 1, identify the most suitable title for the text after skimming. Number 2, infer meanings of 6 vocabulary using context clues. Number 3, examine the text to answer 5 comprehension questions. And number 4, compose a short article about a famous historical monument. So, let's get started. I want you to look at the 2 pictures carefully in your student book, pages 34 and 35. And tell me, what can you see in these pictures below? Have you seen them before? Pause for a while and think. Alright, now let's see your answers. The above pictures show the Hanging Gardens of Babylon and the Ishtar Gate. Dear students, let's answer some more questions to activate the background knowledge about the text we are going to read today. What do you know about ancient Babylon? Do you know any cities in Iraq? Who was Ibn Battuta? You may pause the video and think about the answers if you know. So, after looking at the pictures and answering the questions, dear students, can you guess what the text today will be about? Correct. The text we are going to read today is about the Hanging Gardens of Babylon and the Ishtar Gate. So, let's start. That's going to be very interesting, especially if you are keen about ancient history. Once again, dear students, a reminder to open your student book, page 34. I want you to pause the video and read the text. While reading, you may encounter some unknown or difficult vocabulary. Highlight them and underline them to find their meanings through context. You may pause the video now. Now, dear students, you will skim the text again, but this time you will skim to choose the most appropriate title for the text. Look at exercise B and read the 3 titles. You will pause the video and try to choose the most appropriate title for the text. You may pause now. Alright, now let's check our answers together. The correct answer is A. Reaching Babylon at last. Now let's quickly justify your answer. In the text, the writer was fascinated by the ancient Babylonians ever since he was in high school. But when he started working, he got an opportunity to go to Basra, which is in southern Iraq. From there, he made all attempt to visit Babylon, which was 500 kilometers away, and which he finally succeeded. Hence, the title Reaching Babylon at Last. Let's move on to the second objective of our lesson today. Dear students, you will see some highlighted words in the text, page 34. We will read the part of the text with these vocabulary and try to identify their meanings through context. You may do the same for the other words that you have highlighted while reading. You may pause now and do the task. Alright students, now let's start with the first vocabulary. We will read the sentence from the start. I remember listening in wonder to him speak about kings like Nebuchadnezzar and Hammurabi, about early forms of writing made on clay tablets, and about the famous Epic of Gilgamesh, a poem dating back over 4,000 years. Let's see the context that help us identify the meaning. It's one of the early forms of writing, dating back over 4,000 years. So, clay tablets are flat objects that have been written on and then baked in an oven. Now the second vocabulary, let's read it from the start again. They say that over 3,000 years ago, the Babylonians built a tunnel almost 1 kilometer long underneath the Euphrates. The context here is, they built a tunnel which is 1 kilometer long. So the correct answer is, directly below something else. Dear students, now in this part of the text we are going to identify the meanings of three vocabulary: tiles, paving stones, and sunburned. Let's read the sentence. The first thing we saw was the copy of the famous Ishtar Gate with its blue tiles, which forms the entrance to the site. Here the context that helped us identify the answer is forms the entrance to the site and is blue in color. So, tiles are thin flat pieces of pottery used to cover walls or floors. Moving on to the next one. Then we walked along a wide street which is part of the ancient city and still has many of the original paving stones in place. Here the context that helps us to identify our meaning is that it's a wide street, it's original and a part of the ancient city. So, paving stones here refers to large flat pieces of stone used as part of an outdoor floor or pavement. I'm sure you have seen it in many places around you like Katara or Souq Waqif. The next one, we walked for 2 hours around the whole area and I took photos of the landscape, huge walls, animal designs and pieces of ancient writing. I returned to the car hot, thirsty and sunburned, but very satisfied. Here the context clue is that the writer walked for 2 hours and when he returned to the car he was hot, thirsty and sunburned, which means reddening of the skin from spending too much time in the sun. I hope it's clear now. Moving on to the last vocabulary, dear students, let's read the sentence here. Mr. Rashid has a large collection of books, but also a large collection of very loud cats, and the combination of heat and noise made it difficult to sleep. So here the context that helps us identify the meaning is heat and noise. So what is combination? Combination means a mixture of different things. Well done students, so far you are doing a wonderful job. Once again, let's check your answers. E, A, C, F, D, and B. Dear students, now to assess your understanding of the vocabulary learned, I want you to read the 3 sentences and choose the correct vocabulary. You may pause the video now and complete the task. Alright, let's discuss the answers. Number 1, he hid the envelope underneath his coat. Number 2, there are huge blocks of paving stones in my area to walk. And number 3, we got tired and sunburned as we ran over the beach without shoes. I hope you all got the correct answers. Dear students, it's time to pause for a while and check out some interesting facts about the famous Ishtar Gate. Do you know that this gate was built by a famous king, Nebuchadnezzar II? The total length of the gate is 45 meters and It was an integral part of the grand Babylonian architecture. That's quite interesting, isn't it? Finally, we move on to the last objective of our lesson to answer some comprehension questions. Dear students, you will read the part of the text and answer the three questions. You will pause the video for 3 to 4 minutes and answer them. Don't forget, while answering, you may underline the part of the text that help you derive the answer. You can pause now. Alright, let's check our answers together. What has a writer been interested in since high school? And the answer is, the writer has been interested in ancient history. This answer is quite evident in the first line itself. Number 2, what is the similarity between the writer's history teacher and Mr. Rashid? If you read the text well, I'm sure you got your answer. Both were fascinated by or enthusiastic about ancient Babylon. Number 3, what were the Hanging Gardens of Babylon? The correct answer is, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon were one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. And the answer is quite evident here. Well done, students. Dear students, you will pause the video once again to read the remaining part of the text and answer the 2 questions. Read the question carefully. Alright, now let's check our answers together. Based on the text, what can you infer about the area of the garden? Justify your answer. And the answer is, the garden must be huge since the writer had to walk for 2 hours. As you can see in this part of the text, the writer clearly mentions that they walked for 2 hours around the whole area, taking photos of the landscape, huge walls, animal designs, and pieces of ancient writing. And the last one, was the writer comfortable at Mr. Rashid's house? And the answer is no. The writer didn't seem to be comfortable at Mr. Rashid's house. In the last part of the text, the writer states that, along with large collection of books and large collection of very loud cats, along with the combination of heat and noise, made it difficult for the writer to sleep, which means that he wasn't comfortable at Mr. Rashid's house. Well done, students. Excellent. Dear students, now that we read the text well, we identified the meanings of unknown vocabulary and we also answered some comprehension questions. Now it's time for you to write a short article about a famous historical monument that you admire the most or you have visited before. After writing, make sure you get your article checked by your English teacher. That's all for today, my lovely students. Goodbye and have a wonderful day.